Good morning. Welcome to Tip Off. Hope you're well. It is. Looks as though the storm has not left as it was supposed to, but it doesn't look like it had quite the impact everybody thought. Hope everyone's good this morning. I went off the grid a little bit yesterday. My dad's in town, and we went and spent the day together at Solitude. Pretty awesome day. Hope for those of you who are skiers got the flu yesterday. It was well worth getting the powder flu, which we have had so very little of this year. Tip of the hat to Dad, who is 70 something years old and followed me on every turn, which makes for a great day. Funny experience actually. Uh, I think UDOT does a great job and Canyon Alerts does an amazing job. And I got the Canyon alert that said, well, we're closing the canyon from 1 to 1:45. It's like, all right. So we thought about it and we're like, nah, that's pretty good. We'll keep rolling past that. And, about 1:30 we're dead. Like I'm dead. My legs are just shot. Just nothing. So we stopped for lunch and finished, checked the internet, and it's like 2:30. We're like, all right, well, we'll take another run or two. We checked the internet on every lift, and it said, mouth of Big Cotton Canyon to Spruces, road closed. So we take another run, trail lift, check it, take another run, closed, says closed. Finally, we're so tired. We're like, all right, 3:30. We're just gonna go get in line with the cars to get out of here because we can't ski anymore. It's not closed. Shoot right on down the canyon. Not a problem at all. I have no idea what happened. We checked at like 7 o'clock last night. Still said it was closed. So the internet's a wonderful thing. I am not ragging on UDOT because I think they have set up a system for us. It's terrific. Their Canyon Alerts is great. And Commuter Link is really important. I think they do a great job, but I think there was a good lesson that every now and then, one guy forgets to put one thing, switch one little proofreading, and it can have a pretty large impact. So I thought that was classic. Sloan Conference starts today, which is the Geekapalooza, which is all the best people in analytics, and then a lot of really interested fans in analytics and research that's been done. Uh, I've read some of it already. There were 10 best research projects that were put out. By the way, you can follow it all hashtag on your Twitter. I think it's Sloan. It's hashtag SSAC. I'd suggest it. I mean, it's a little busy now. There's so many people on it that hashtag's a little busy, but there's some great stuff. Henry Abbott at True Hoop always does probably the best job at ESPN of kind of rounding everything up there. And There's been some really interesting work. One is the idea that's relevant to us. There's a research paper out there that experience actually doesn't lead to wins. Teams playing together for extended periods of time does, but purely experience doesn't. Oklahoma City may be proving that right now. They're pretty low on the experience, but they've played a lot together. Portland may have had that before their injuries. Uh, actually, Miami's not that old. They haven't played together a lot, though, and they are clearly rolling right now. Heat are in town tonight. It's going to be awesome. So, anyway, that Sloan Conference is going on. Make sure you check that out. Sorry, I had a bunch of things I wanted to hit today. Um, oh, I'm going to do a vocal, one of our live chats. I'll probably do two of them this next week. I was on a Hangout last night on Google Hangout with some people, and there was some question of when works best. I've been doing lunchtime with Locke. What's your guys' thought? What works best for you in theory? We don't fly after every game on this trip. We do fly after Cleveland, but not after Charlotte. And so actually we could do some post games because of the time change East Coast to West Coast. So feel free to give me your thought on that. You know what's really actually pretty cool right now? Facebook has changed some things up. I'm not sure I really like all of it because it's change and nobody likes change. But Facebook has made changes to the Locked On Sports page, and you can actually message me now. I think a lot easier than you could before. So why don't you do it there? Facebook Locked On Sports, and tell me if there's times that vocal's better for you. BYU opens up against University of San Diego tonight. I think that's an 8 o'clock tip. Greg Wrubell will be on the call for those guys. Best of luck to the Cougars. I think this is going to be time for Noah Hartzog being a little beat up. This is certainly for all of the troubles Brandon Davies been through. This is really an important 2 or 3 day stretch for Brandon Davies. I think this is a chance for him to show some growth, show some leadership, Maybe show if he's an NBA talent. He's always been incredibly skilled. I don't think he's an NBA talent, but he's got an NBA body. And particularly against San Diego, he dominated them the 2 times they've played already this year. He should dominate them again. And then when they match up against the Zags or St. Mary's, he needs to be great. I don't want to simplify it. I mean, Charles has got to play well. Other guys have got to do things. Point guard play's got to be hitting. But to some extent, in these 3-day, as Kemba Walker proved last year, in these 3-day tournaments, or it's 5-day tournaments for them, you need to have a player who's elite, who plays great. That was our coffee moment of the morning right there. So that would be big for BYU. Hopefully that will come through. Interesting night in the NBA last night. The Oklahoma City Orlando game. At the end of the third quarter, Dwight's unbelievable in the third. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, Orlando looks really good. Maybe they can keep Dwight. And then they collapse in the fourth quarter defensively. Oklahoma City's really good. Durant was fabulous. And by the end, you're like, oh, that's the death knell. There's no way they can ever keep Howard. That's the night that changes everything. And it's probably such an overstatement on each side, but it's what a ridiculous existence. And we'll see how this all works out for the Jazz long term with Favors and Cantor, how the Warrior pick plays out. But the idea that we have not had to do that this year, I still just think is one of the better decisions that's been made by the organization. And I don't have. I think they got as much talent as they could get, which is the other issue, and hopefully somebody develops. They definitely have a little bit of a hope issue, and hope's a scary thing. But just watching Orlando last night and just realizing that every action that they have right now as we move 15 days to the trade deadline is being based suddenly everything. And I was doing it. I mean, watching them thinking that. And sure enough, I have to feel that some of that's wearing on all of them. Van Gundy's an unbelievable coach and has done a great job. And now they're talking about trying to acquire Monte Ellis and just so much little stuff. It just that's not a logical move for them to go acquire Monte Ellis. For them to add another small guard. But they're so desperate that you start to consider ridiculously absurd things. And I'm really glad we're not in that situation. The other one actually that's worth mentioning there is, Memo hasn't played. That was a very little move. We'll see what happens with the trade exception, but even without the trade exception, that was a great move. Tonight's going to be great. Tonight is going to be great. It's the Miami Heat and the Utah Jazz at Energy Solutions Arena. There are some Upper Bowl tickets available. LeBron is in town. By the way, today's podcast is brought to you by, I don't really have anyone it's brought to you by, but I was going to have it be brought to you by Level 9 Sports again, just because I like them and my new skis are so great that I thought I would just give them a free sponsorship. So go visit if you're a skier and you haven't got on the new boards and the new crazy stuff. I'm actually putting my dad on a demo pair of S7s today, whether it's the Solomons or the Atomics or the Heads, or I'm on the Rossignol's for my downhill skis. Feel free to stop by Level 9 Sports. Tell them I sent you. They'll take care of you. They'll give you free bindings and free helmets and free other stuff just for mentioning my name. So that's a free sponsorship to Level 9 Sports just because I was so happy about my skiing. LeBron James. He is the radar or the lightning bolt for all criticism right now. And I don't think I had analogies right. But anyway, who cares? And it's ridiculous. He's probably one of the 3 best defensive players in the NBA. He is having the best offensive season that any player in the NBA has had since maybe Jordan in 1991. And the only reason I say maybe Jordan is because I'm beginning to think that LeBron's season is better. Jordan's best season is probably 1990-91. He shoots 54%. That year he stopped shooting the 3. He averaged 31.5 points a game. The year prior, maybe he could have been better. He was at 33.6. He was, interestingly enough, by the way, he was 26 and 27 years old at this stage of his career. That year he shot 53%. He shot a lot of threes. Three a game. He shot 38%. That might have been the short 3 year. I'd have to check it. He got 7 rebounds and 6 assists a game and 3 steals. Unreal year. LeBron's better. LeBron's year is better. And now here's to me where the travesty is on the way LeBron's being treated. Well, he's a total late game failure. And until he wins a championship. Okay, so in 1990-91, when Michael Jordan was 27 years old, the year I'm talking about, he finally won his first championship. LeBron James today, 27 years old. He's been to an NBA final with far less talent than Michael's ever was. He's going to win his third MVP in the last 4 years. This year, he maybe arguably should have been MVP last year too, but nobody was going to dare give it to him. He wasn't actually eligible for the award. Michael Jordan is by far the greatest player, not by far, but the greatest player to play the game. Universally accepted. Barack Obama even said so on the Bill Simmons podcast. By the way, that's actually worth a listen. That was great. So if you get a chance when you're done with this, on your Stitcher Radio, if you have not downloaded Stitcher Radio on your iPhone or your Android, do so. You'll love it. And then you can grab it when you're done with this. But for all of this crazy criticism LeBron gets, man, how stupid have we gotten that we're criticizing this guy for the way he finishes an all-star game? He is leading this team, and he is unreal. And last year, last year a team that was just put together with absolutely no bench. Mike Miller didn't play. Adonis Haslam barely played all year. With no bench at all, they go to the NBA Finals. And it takes Dirk being superhuman, as the Jazz play the NBA Final back-to-back here, to have them not win the title. And they're going to win the title this year. They're that good. And their bench is great. Haslam, Battier, Miller, they're good. Played without Bosh last night. They had no problem at all. And Dwayne Wade is super. The speed that this team plays with. There's teams that rebound, they bring the ball up the floor. There's teams that rebound and go. They rebound, get the ball, and they go. And these guys rebound, go, and pass. It is incredible. And defensively, Chicago's better, but not a lot better. The criticism LeBron is receiving is an immediate gratification society, and it's completely unfair. Last night, LeBron had 38 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals, and no turnovers. I mean, that's worth a search on Basketball Reference. I'm not sure many guys have ever done that in their entire NBA career. In fact, at the end of the podcast, we will pause for a second and we will look that up. I mean, that's sick. Joel Anthony fills his role perfectly. And they're probably, I guess, maybe they're a ninth guy short of being really good, but I don't know who has ninth guys anymore in the NBA. And for all we know, they'll get one at the deadline. And this, by the way, they're only going to get better every single year from here on out. They are starting a run this year that is going to be the first of probably ridiculously the amount of championships that LeBron and everybody said in their obnoxious, egotistical, ridiculous press conference. Because they're going to win this year, and then everybody is going to want to be a part of who they are and what they do. Because why wouldn't you? They're going to win endlessly. And for all the criticism LeBron is getting right now, it's going to look really, really, really silly. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's going to look really, really, really silly. Because this guy is unreal. All right, that wraps up our tip-off. I've run the search here. 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals have been done 15 times in the history of the NBA. And the only time it's ever been done by a guy who didn't turn the ball over was last night by LeBron James. Holy smokes. Most recently, it was done in 2008 by Amari. LeBron did it in 2005. Vince Carter did it in 2001. Since 1994, there have only been 3 players, LeBron doing it twice, ever in the history of the NBA who had 35 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals in a game. And nobody has ever done it without turning the ball over. Good night now. Who says that? All right. Have a good tip off. That's how I find stats. See ya.